Hey everybody, HossDrone here with another Star Wars Destiny video. Today we're just going to go over the Convergence Legendaries. Got a tier list set up here. Here at the top row we've got our um, uh, amazing categories. So basically it's bad, good, great, amazing. That's kind of the tier list I have here. So good, better, best, and then down here is the garbage. So the two legendaries that I think are more or less from universally considered from Convergence to be not that good. But up here we've got good, better, and what I think is elite. And we'll start with the elite category. So these are the four that I think from Convergence are the four legendaries that are essentially the chase legendaries. They're legendaries that you're going to want to get your two copies of. You're going to want to get them probably sooner rather than later because you're going to want to use them. And now I realize that we don't have store championships or anything that have been scheduled yet, but now's the time that you should be playing probably with these four legendaries. If you want to play something what I think is super competitive right now, these are the four legendaries that I think are really good. And we're going to go from left to right. We're going to start with what I think is the best legendary from the set. And Entourage. Entourage is gross. It is damn near busted. Having played with it these last 2 weeks, having played against it these last 2 weeks, it has just been gross. It has 50% damage sides. One of those damage sides is special, which means that it's a little bit more difficult to mitigate. It has basically a very low floor, high ceiling, because at worst, it spots itself and deals 1 damage, and what often happens is it'll spot 4 or 5 scoundrel cards and deal you 4 or 5 damage. It is really, really good, and it's not indirect, it's direct damage on that special. You simply spot any number of scoundrels that deal that much damage to a character, and given the fact that it searches for a scoundrel means that it's not hard to have it at a minimum deal 2 damage, and that doesn't even include the characters that you probably have that are scoundrels. Guys like Watto, and the Enfys Nest Marauders, and Lando, and Han Solo, etc., etc. All these really good characters are scoundrels, and this neutral yellow support deals damage based on how many of them you have in play. And oh, by the way, go get another one after you play this one. Just yesterday, for our weekly event, my opponent, first turn, played this with Wat Tambor, rolled it out, hit the 2 resources, searched the other copy with it, rolled it out, hit 2 resources, took those resources, took another resource from something else, played the other entourage, went and grabbed Fickle Mercenaries, and then later in the round played that one too, and he had Watto on the table already, so before I could even bat an eyelash, he had 4 scoundrels on the table on the first turn. And it was just impossible to deal with. I honestly believe that Entourage is better than Vader's Fist. That is my personal opinion. So when you combine it with Wat Tambor, it's gross. You get the effect of Vader's Fist with the multiple rollouts, while at the same time having, in my personal opinion, a higher damage potential ceiling because you don't have paid sides on it. And those paid sides that it doesn't have, that Vader's Fist have, make it so that you can spend all your money and roll this out and not worry about it. And the fact that it has a 2 resource side is really good. It's probably its most underrated side on here, and as its most underrated side, it's still really good. I mean, the 2 disrupt, yeah, but I mean, 2 disrupt, it's better than having 1 disrupt, because 2 disrupt can really, really impact around. You roll this out, you hit a 2 disrupt, you can really force your opponent into spending their money, then not being able to mitigate, and then you just re-roll this and find the money or the damage. So I still think that even the 2 disrupt side on this card is really good, because 2 disrupt can really force the opponent to spend their resources, really threatens resources, and then forces your opponent to be having to play their cards, maybe not have money for their mitigation later on. So Entourage, even at its worst, clears the way for your other cards. So Entourage, best legendary in the set. Bar none. I think it's better than Vader's Fist. You heard it here first. Next, we've got Padme. This new Padme is so dang good. I've been playing it in what I'm calling Mono Red Mill. Elite Padme, Elite Leia. I'm going to put a video up later. I've tried recording several videos of me playing the deck, and TTS just kept just going bonkers, and the games didn't record clean, and I didn't want to subject any of you viewers to that. But just suffice it to say that I played the deck 4 times online. I've played it 6 times in real life. My buddy Mark played it on Saturday and went 3-1 with it, and his only loss with it was to me playing Palpatine, where I was able to drop Force Storm, or not Force Storm, but Force Wave on the first turn right away, and then he just couldn't deal with that dice, and I kept rolling it in and kept hitting special, and yeah, so it's only lost in like 4, 10, 13, 14 games. It's only lost in 14 games was because I was the designer of the deck and I knew how to beat it. So, but Padme is really good. She's really good with Yoda. I personally don't think that's the best pairing. I having played now the mill version with Padme with her and Leia, I honestly think that might be her best pairing. So, take it for what you will, but 3 focus sides, discard side, a resource side, and the ability to turn your focuses into damage. It's so good. She really is like a complete package. And then you pair her with her ship, and she becomes a lot harder to kill. So every side that she has, other than the blank, is highly usable. At 14 points elite, she pairs with so many people. So she is really a Swiss Army knife that can do a lot of things for you. And at her worst, she's making your dice rolls better by giving you focuses. So, Padme, second best legendary in the set. I think that's almost without question. All right. Force Storm, third best legendary in the set. And the only reason it's not 1 or 2 is because of the fact that you have to play it on a blue villain character. My personal opinion is it would definitely challenge Entourage for top spot and leapfrog Padme if it wasn't for the fact that it's limited in the decks that it can go in. But when it's in that deck, it is amazing. That special is gross. So, as I mentioned, I was playing Palpatine yesterday, local event. Played against local Cannon. He's been my opponent in a few of my videos. Go check those videos out. But Cannon was playing Blue Hero. It was late. Palpatine had like 7 upgrades on him at that point. It was late in the game, but we'd basically just been sitting there playing defense with each other because he was playing Blue Heroes. He had his own Sarisu Mastery, his Sarisu Training on Mace Windu. He was playing hardcore defense. I was playing hardcore defense. We kind of ground to this standstill. And then I played Force Storm and kind of slow played the round out. The Force Storm, landed on like a 2 discard. I think it was the 2 discard side it landed on, or the 2 shield side. And so Cannon just kind of ignored it. I threatened damage with some other dice, threatened some things with some other dice, forcing Cannon to remove those dice, kind of ignoring the Force Storm, which then allowed me then to do what I planned on doing, which is special chain out. So I was playing Palpatine with Arinda Price, and what I did was, I got Force Storm on the special, did a damage, re-rolled it, got lucky, hit the special again, did 2 more damage, re-rolled it, didn't hit it, had Arinda burn a special, turn it, deal 3 more damage, re-rolled it, used the other into special, dealt 4 damage, re-rolled it, got lucky, hit the special again, re-rolled it for 5 damage, then hit 4 indirect damage, resolved 4 indirect damage, then Palpatine power action, rolled the Force Storm back out again, dealt another 4 indirect damage. And so I dealt 1, 3, 6, 10, 15, 19, 23. Count it. 23 damage in a single round with Force Storm. That insane high of a ceiling, because I basically just, forced my opponent to deal with other things. He wasn't able then to deal with the Force Storm when it started to count. And granted, I was kind of building the deck around it, but that's my point. If you build, a deck around Force Storm, there's some really gross things you can do with that special. And I think that special side, with its incredible ceiling, is what gives it such incredible potential for damage, which is why I said it, in my mind, it competes with Entourage and Vader's Fist for just damage output. But the only reason I don't put it exactly as high as Entourage or Vader's Fist is the fact you have to put it on a blue character. That blue character tends to be their first target. So even though you have a high ceiling with it, this card has the potential to be knocked off the table before you can really abuse it. So not higher than Entourage, but still elite level. It's insane. Our last, in my opinion, elite card, elite legendary from the set is Memphis Nest. I put her here because of the fact that I think that there's an incredible amount of potential with her. The fact that she's neutral. She's a scoundrel, so she works with Entourage. The fact that her power action means that those pay sides on her dice, in a lot of situations, this might as well not even be there. I mean, if you hit double damage sides, you can just make them not cost anything, which is really good. If you hit her money side, basically a $2 side is insane. We've already seen that with Thrawn. A 2 money side on a die is just really, really good. So it's her ceiling, which I don't think that has been found yet, is why I'm putting her in the elite category right now. One of my locals, he paired Memphis Nest with Wat Tambor and just was able to make money or threaten damage, which meant you had to deal with her die, which is what opened up him being able to play Entourage. I mean, that was the game that I referred to earlier here with the Entourage, what he did. He just, I think that the fact that Memphis Nest works so well with Entourage is the reason why Entourage pulls her into this elite category of legendaries from Convergence. So those are our, in my opinion, elite legendaries from Convergence. And now let's move on down to what I think are the great legendaries. Legendaries that are not elite level. You not necessarily feel compelled to have to play them right now, but there are ones that I think are really good. They have a very strong place in the meta. They make your decks better just by being there. And we start off with Mega Blaster Troopers. Mega Blaster Troopers is really good, and the only reason I didn't put it in the elite category was the 2 blank side. And the fact that the other dice that you roll in also have 2 blank sides on them. If it wasn't for that, this card would be right up here being elite. This card is really, really good. Really, really good. And the fact that it has the Trooper keyword on it, and all you have to do is spot a leader to get the bonus on it. It's not difficult. So there's a lot of upside with this card, and you just flood the board with dice. And being able to flood the board with dice is really good because of the fact that I think since we've lost things like Jedi Mind Trick and so forth and rotation, there's really not a whole lot of ways to just, remove a ton of dice all at one time. You can't just, if your opponent rolls in a whole bunch of dice and then tries to maneuver from there, you just can't deal with it. If they're rolling all these dice in, they just flood the board and it's hard to deal with. And that's what Mega Blaster Troopers is doing in spades. So Mega Blaster Troopers, great card, really great card. Palpatine. Now here's the thing. I'm really, really, in some senses, undecided about Palpatine. I played him on Saturday. I played him yesterday, and I went 4-0 with him. And I paired him with Arinda Price. But here's the thing. So I went 4-0 in the tournament with him, and then I played a couple of pickup games after that, and then people played against him differently. And so I think that might be the problem that Palpatine faces, is that as people try to figure out how to play Palpatine, your opponents are going to figure out how to stop Palpatine. So while I think he's strong, has a lot of upside, if he's not dealt with quickly by your opponent, he gets just out of control, and then it becomes really hard to beat him. So that's why I'm still putting him in the great category, because if you can generate your resources and get your upgrades on him, your abilities on him, and he just goes up in health and up in health, and they don't get him off the board, he can be really good at stalling out the board with Sarisu Mastery, Sarisu Training, and back to tank, healing, healing 5 at a pop for 2. It's really good. I was also playing with Darth Vader's meditation chamber as well. So I was getting incidental heals and getting his back to tank healing back into the deck, which meant that, against at least 2 of my 4 opponents on Saturday, I kind of reached this like critical mass point where I just wasn't going to lose. So I think that there's a lot of upside here with Palpatine. He has a very high ceiling. I think he has a very high floor. But where that floor is the question mark, and is the reason why he's not up here too. So as far as like financials are concerned, $50 for Palp was definitely too high. I'm certainly not buying my second Palpatine. I only got 1 Palpatine die, and I was playing Palpatine at 1 die and Arinda at 2 dice, and then having 3 resources left over in order to play with Profitable Connection, which is what allowed me to play like a 2-cost upgrade and a 1-cost upgrade, or a pair of 2-cost abilities right away on the first turn. So I felt like that was a really great, solid way of playing Palpatine, and then I really wasn't concerned about getting his second die. I'm sure there's a lot of ways to build Palpatine, which is another reason why he's up here. So I think there's going to be a lot of ways to build him. People are going to fiddle around with things. I think we'll eventually find a best build with him, but that might change in the future. But he's up here because I think he's really solid. So moving on. Next we have Captain Phasma. So during the preview period, people saw her and went, "Oh my gosh, she's so amazing." And then after that, people then changed their minds and went, "Oh, she's actually not that good." Then Mega Blaster Troopers got spoiled, and then it was like, "Oh, okay, so she is good." And then people played with her some more and went, "Oh, she's not that good." Well, here's the thing. Now that the whole set's released and we have access to all the cards, I'm back to thinking that she's really good. Now, here's the thing. I got 1 copy of her in my boxes. I got 1 copy of Emphas Nest in my boxes. I traded my Phasma for my second copy of Emphas Nest. I'm probably going to turn around and order 2 copies of Phasma again. But, here's the thing. Playing Phasma, I think just like Palpatine, people haven't quite got her best build figured out yet. That might take a while, especially since we don't have big tournaments going to be happening anytime soon. So, but I think once like a best version of her is found, I think she's going to be like Vader in the new meta. Eventually, when it eventually settles out, she's going to be that gatekeeper character that is like, if your deck is not able to deal with her, you're just going to lose. But if you can deal with her, you're going to be heavily favored. And one of the decks that I think is going to be heavily favored against her is Mill, because of the fact that while she might be spamming the board with dice, she also has to play upgrades and play other things in order to get anywhere. So I think what's going to ultimately happen with Phasma is that there's going to be a Phasma build that is meant to win against a field where you don't expect Mill, and then it's going to lose to Mill. And then there's going to be the build that really tries to maximize its Mill matchup, but then it's probably going to drop games to aggro. in which case that's the reason why I feel like Phasma will be the gatekeeper deck, but it's not going to be like the best deck. So she's at this level because of that and not up here. Next, we've got Sarisu Mastery. I am loving Sarisu Mastery. The fact that you can play it out as removal, then roll the character out on your next action and potentially remove another die, or at the very least, probably get shields in order to deal with oncoming damage. It's just so good. It's just this constant removal. The best part about it is that if you draw a second copy of it, you can bin the first one. You can basically overwrite it to get the removal again. It's so good. And the fact that Sarisu Training can then pull it out of the discard pile, so you can actually feel free to overwrite Sarisu Mastery with some other upgrade, because you've got Sarisu Training on the board as well, and then roll out the Sarisu Training and then pull it back in again. It's so strong. The only reason it's at this level and not up here is, again, it doesn't deal damage. It's a purely defensive card, and I can't put purely defensive cards at an elite level. Next up, we have the LAAT Gunship. And I'm not just putting it here because I pulled 4 copies of it in my boxes, which really sucked. It was definitely not the legendary I wanted to pull 4 of. I would have much rather had it been one of these 4, but I pulled 4 copies of it. If you need a LAAT Gunship, go on eBay, find the 2 copies I have on eBay, and purchase them. Please get them on, get them out of my hair. I don't need 2 more copies. I've got 2 copies. I don't need the other 2. So, LAAT Gunship. Here's the thing. It was obviously broken before the nerf, but even after the nerf, I feel like it's really strong. I've seen Yoda, Rex deck lists using the LAAT Gunship, and then of course having the busted plot of Armored Reinforcement, go grab it, which is going to be easy to get on the very first turn because Yoda's going to make you money, most likely. So being able to go grab an LAAT Gunship on the first turn and then potentially abuse Rex rolling in, Rex re-rolling in, and then the fact that it has no blanks, the fact that 4 of its sides are really good even outside of the special, I really think this card is strong, and I think eventually people are going to wise up to it. Once we actually get into a competitive season, people are going to see just how good LAAT Gunship really is, even after the nerf. So, yeah, keep an eye out for this one. I'm putting it in the great but not elite category because I think that it's going to find its way into some serious use. Next, we have Jabba. And he's the one in this great category that I was like kind of bouncing him back and forth between these 2 levels. I didn't feel confident putting him here at the great level, but I didn't feel like he was just the okay level either. The fact that he can just activate, look at the top 4 cards, get you an extra card, and that extra card can be Delve. So you're just that much more likely to pull a Delve, which you then turn your Delve into something big and fat. It cannot be underestimated. It's really strong. But the problem is that he doesn't do damage. He's only got 10 health, but he is only 13 to play at elite. So it's not like he's soaking up most of your point cost here. So I really am waffling on him being at this level and this level, but I decided to give him the benefit of the doubt because I know that Nick Cuenca is really high on him, so I will defer to Nick Cuenca's opinion and go ahead and put him here at the great level. Now we go to the just good level. These are the cards that if you pull them in your boxes, you can feel happy about. You didn't waste your money, and you'll probably find some use for them. First up, we got Palp's Lightsaber. Obviously, Palpatine is a deck. It will be a deck that will definitely see some use. It's a solid 2-cost saber weapon, which 2-cost sabers have always been able to find their way into play. So, and it is 50% damage sides. So, and the fact that it can potentially come in for even cheaper than the 2 is also really good. So it's definitely good. I don't put it at great just because of the fact that while it might be great in the Palpatine deck, it's not necessarily great anywhere else. So we're just going to leave it back in the good category. Next up, we have Yoda Spirit. This is a card. It has 50% focus size and it has no blanks. That alone, and the fact that it's 2 cost, that alone means it's good. I don't think that can be disputed. A dice card with no blanks and only costs 2, it's good. I don't know that it's great because it's one thing that it does that deals damage means that it goes off the table. So, and you can't play it and Yoda together. And it is hero only, so you know those things kind of keep it from being great. But we will. It's a solidly a good card because it has 50% focus size and cost 2 and so forth. So moving on. Next we have Mace Windu's Lightsaber. This is a card that if you pull 1 out of your boxes or out of your packs, you'll be happy with. If you pull 2, you're like, oh, that's not great. If you were like me and you pulled 3, you get kind of mad because it's not like this is a card you want to put more than 1 of in a deck. You may put 2 in a Mace Windu deck just because of its ability to abuse the power action once, then maybe overwrite it, then actually play the second copy out, move it again, and actually get multiple bonus uses out of it. So, I mean, for that reason, it's a good card. It's 50% damage. It's actually 66% to damage sides, and none of them are pay sides. So it's a good weapon at 3, but it's not great because really its abusability is if you have to play with Mace Windu. So you got to be playing, you got to be playing heroes, and you got to be playing melee sides. And I don't know that hero melee is strong in the meta right now. So good card, good legendary, not great. Next up, we have Chewie's Blaster Rifle. 50% damage sides, no worse than a 2. You can ping yourself to get an extra roll of it. And then if that character is Chewbacca, you can get basically a free rollout and a free ambush on it, which is good at 3 costs. The damage sides are fair, but it is also unique in the fact that to really abuse it, you got to deal damage to yourself. You got to help your opponent to help yourself. Kind of keeps it just in the good category, not the great category. Lastly, we have Quicksilver Baton, and the only reason this one made it in the good category is falling down to the garbage tier with the fact that it's a 2 cost red neutral, meaning you can go in either a villain or a hero deck. The fact that it's 2 costs and it's neutral is the only thing that kept it out of the garbage legendary status, in my opinion. And its abilities, not that great. It is 50% damage sides, but 2 of those are modified. So even the free roll-in means that you have to already have melee dice out in the pool. And if that happens, then basically, this roll-in, your opponent sees, oh, they hit the modified side. Well, then I'm going to remove the base side. So getting that free roll-in may be even pointless because you may not even be able to resolve it before you actually roll it attached character in. Now, if you put it on a trooper, you can pay a resource to roll one of that trooper's character dice into the pool. That's pretty cool because you get a free use out of a character die. So even regardless of whether or not you get 2 uses of the baton, you're probably going to get 2 uses out of the character. So again, that's probably one of the few things that kept it out of the garbage tier. But this isn't a legendary I'd pay more than like $7 for. So that of course leaves us with the garbage tier. And if you've been keeping track at home, you know exactly which 2 of those are. And that is, of course, Chewbacca and Crime Lord. Crime Lord as a reprint legendary is garbage, and I'm mad at FFG for even doing it because it meant that was one legendary that I paid for that I didn't need in any way, shape, or form, which really sucks. So, yeah, don't ever do that again, FFG. If you are listening, do not ever do this again. Chewbacca, I can't see a way in which he's good. Um, his scoundrel keyword might work with Entourage, but you got to pay 15 for a character that has a modified range side, a paid for 2 side, and then his ability only really triggers if he's already being targeted and is probably going to die soon anyway. So I don't really want to invest 15 character points into a character that's going to just die probably quickly, or he's going to be ignored while the other guy dies quickly, and then he's all by himself, and then his sides by themselves just aren't that good. They're just not good enough, in my opinion. So, um, granted, you can, force the damage onto him if you're playing with another scoundrel like Han or Lando. But that's the problem in and of itself. So you guardian those away, and then they just focus him down. And at 13 health, yeah, that's 2 better than an 11 health for 15. But you know, guardianing damage away is still taking the damage. So I've never been a huge fan of guardian. I've seen its purpose. I've seen it used well, but I've never been a huge fan of it as a mechanic. And I don't. If he would have been at 14 points, I could have potentially seen him seeing play, but as it is right now, the original Chewbacca is actually better than this one, which is sad because the original Chewbacca was not super great either. So, yeah, kind of a garbage card for right now. That might change. He might get pulled out of the garbage here when other cards come out. When the next 2, 3, 4, 5 sets come out, he might find some use, might find a good pairing, might find a way to really abuse him. Maybe he'll get cards specific to him that can turn around this ability. But for now, I just can't see how he's good. I don't see him as a playable legendary right now. So, well, there you have it. The legendaries from the Convergence set and their tiers, in my opinion. If you agree, disagree, have thoughts, comments, criticisms, or suggestions, please leave them in the comments section below. Please like and subscribe to my channel. I'm going to hopefully get to posting some more videos here soon. Now that all of the cards for Convergence are available on TTS now, I just got to find the time to do it. I'm actually in the competitive season for another card game I play, the Star Trek card game. We're in that game's competitive season right now, so I'm actually not minding the fact that Destiny is not in a competitive season right now. So, because I actually decided not to go to Worlds last year for Destiny because of the fact that I'd already made commitments for the Star Trek card games competitive season, so it kind of sucked not being able to go to Destiny Worlds, but I think I'm happy with the changes that FFG's made to Destiny's competitive schedule. The problem is that they announced this and then they haven't given us anything else. Like, we don't know. Nobody knows when store championships are going to be. We don't know if there's going to be another round of regionals. There's supposed to be another round of regionals before we get to Worlds again, supposedly. But who knows? I mean, we kind of got told this is how it's going to be now, which was great. I like the changes, but you got to follow up on them, FFG. So if you're listening, FFG Organized Play, I like the changes, but you got to follow up on them now. Let people know what's going on. I would like to organize another round of Store Championships. I would love to do that. I would love to organize, hopefully get a regional at my local game store this year. Not have to drive all the way to Fargo. Or the cities, or Omaha, or what have you, and actually have one here in Sioux Falls. So, anyway, thanks for watching. Like I said, please like and subscribe to my channel. And like I said, I'll hopefully get some more videos, actual gameplay videos, up with these new cards here pretty soon. Now that the whole set's out there and I can get serious about the decks, since all the cards are available, and we can do, get some good play testing in. So, again, thanks for watching, and have a good week, everyone.